So, hello everybody, and welcome to this new webinar on sustainable sports. Thank you very much for attending this webinar. We're going to have a question and answer moment after my presentation, and I am the founder and director of WSO, the World Sustainability Organization, and the foundation, and the Friend of the Earth and the Friend of the Sea projects. Our story starts back in the early 90s with my involvement in the Dolphin Safe Tuna program. I soon realized that certifications could be a very important tool to achieve tangible conservation results. So in 2008, we launched the Friend of the Sea, initially focused on certification of seafood from sustainable fisheries and aquaculture. 10 years later, we launched Friend of the Earth, initially certifying products from sustainable agriculture and farming. And in 2022, we created the World Sustainability Foundation. In 2023, we opened our first Sustainable Friends concept store in Milan, in the center of Milan. Currently, over 5,000 products from more than 1,500 companies from all continents carry the Friend of the Sea and the Friend of the Earth certification logos. The Friend of the Sea and the Friend of the Earth standard is the Friend of the Sea standard in particular is the only standard for seafood from sustainable fisheries, having been endorsed by the national accreditation bodies, making it the only real third-party certification in seafood and omega-3 sustainability. And we're following the same process also with Friend of the Earth. So what is the definition of sports? The answer to this question is not straightforward because there is no exact term of definition for sports. But the word sports comes from the old French despot, which has a meaning of spare movement. In simple words, sports can be defined as an activity that the human does in the form of physical activities for fun. It can involve playing games, exercising, or just having a good time. People might play sports by playing soccer or basketball, going for a run, or even just joking around with friends. Sports competition was first formalized in training soldiers to run, jump, fight, and ride horses, as well as use poles, spears, and rocks in combat. The intense training inevitably led to competition among soldiers. We can assume some observers even placed wagers on the contests. Hence, one of competitive sports' first derivatives may have been betting. The early period also produced the first signs of sports as entertainment and the importance of fun engagement. Military competitions eventually led to the inaugural Olympic Games in 776 before Christ. The Games were the first documented organized sports competition with athletes, events, spectators, and the venue. The event included boxing, discus, equestrian, long jump, javelin, running, and wrestling. Sports competition was first formalized in training soldiers to run, jump, and ride horses. And over the years, as you can see, new sports have been invented or introduced or started to be practiced in different parts of the world. And I highlighted in red those that are more common and known. As you can see, some date back over 2,000 years. Some are more recent, from the 1500, the 1700, and the 1800. In Milan, the headquarters of our organization, there is a good example of a more complex building for sports, the arena from 1807, inaugurated by Napoleon, whose purpose was to be used for boat races. So, as you can see, since that time, humans were building something quite big for sports. The modern sports era began around 1850 and continues today. Many of the sports evolving during the period. In the early years, a dramatic shift occurred with new leagues, teams, and stadiums added for a variety of sports like baseball, football, basketball, ice hockey, water sports, bicycle racing, and auto racing. By 1880, the United States became a driving influence in sport creation. As the new sports drew greater interest with the support of emerging media, fun, engagement, and venues showcasing the events also grew. Athletes participating in sports need footwear, apparel, and equipment. All sports require at least some specialized equipment and sportswear. Companies emerged to make balls, bats, sticks, rackets, golf clubs, and poles, as well as mitts, gloves, and skis. Over time, style and fashion became critical among sports products, as did health products like hydration beverages, energy bars, and nutritional aids. Today, athletes rely on their health and wellness to compete, and innovation in medicine and physical therapy have become a large and growing part of the massive sports industry. So the best Howard model fully captures, that you can see here, fully captures the sports industry's scope and structure. The model includes three core domains that we will see also in the next slides: fun, engagement, sport products, and sports participation. It is impossible to find a single definition of what constitutes the industry or consolidated figure representing its economic magnitude, or at least it's very difficult. And the model includes an inventory of 36 categories known as segments, with participation and revenue data collected for each one. The model assigns each segment to one of the three major domains: fun engagement, sports products, and sports participation. And each domain is further divided into three core areas. This is also well explained in this video. Let's see if I can manage to show it to you. Okay, so according to the model that I've shown before, there's three domains, and sport products, with its core areas of sportswear, sports equipment, and sports health and wellness, is the largest global contributor at $968 billion. So you see, it represents 41%, but also the other domains are relevant: sports participation and fun engagement. And here is an image you will find in the PowerPoint that we will send to you in case you are interested to drill down some more and have more detailed values for all the subsections of the domains. Even though this study apparently uses data from only one of the sections, the one that you see here reporting, it is generally agreed by all the studies that the sports market size has grown strongly in recent years. It has grown by 6.3% in the past year and is expected to grow at 5.8% in the next years. So it is important to try and understand which are the causes of the growth of sports. And here you see some listed. Of course, the strong economic growth in emerging markets like India, for example, the rapid growth in e-commerce and rapid urbanization, the growing interest of people in sports. There's data that's showing that even the youngest, more recent generations, the new generations, they tend to be more and more interested in sports. Emergence of multiple sports channels on TV, high spending on sponsorships, the rise in sports tourism, moving to see your own football team playing, or moving to experiment and experience new sports. favorable government initiatives like in India and maybe in the US with the Make American Health Again campaign. To give you an idea of the importance of the sports industry, it is, as you can see from this graph, it is basically even more than the pharma and healthcare industry and similar to the construction and insurance industry. So it's very relevant. And if we look at the worldwide sports events market, defined as all ticketing, media, and marketing revenues for major sports, we see that football, soccer remains king. Global revenues for this sport equal almost as much as the combined revenues for all US sports. The 5 biggest leagues accounting for half of the market, imagine. And the top 20 teams in football comprising roughly 1/4 of the market. In general, the most popular sports, such as football and those based in the US, are growing faster than tennis and golf. Rugby is emerging and has grown exponentially since becoming a professional sport in 1995. While soccer leads in Europe, South America, and Africa, the same devotion is shown for cricket in India and Pakistan and American football in the US. Basketball, tennis, and volleyball are also played in every world region. Imagine that more people watch NBA basketball in China than any other nation outside the US. In terms of earning, below is an infographic of the wealthiest sports leagues by annual revenue. Out of these 20 leagues, 14 are football leagues. The sports sector is also an important employer, representing, for example, in Europe, an average of approximately 1% of total employment in recent years. We have seen the relevance of the sports sector and its rapid growth in recent decades. Now we should wonder what is the environmental impact of sports. The various sport industry domains have different potential impacts. The sports products domain, for example, has impacts similar to those of textile and fashion or other manufacturers of products. Thus, mainly use of resources, energy and water, emissions and waste, social accountability. Participated sports are normally carried out in sports centers, clubs, ski areas. So in some cases, the development of these sites could have an impact on the natural environment. People might have to move to those sites, and thus their transportation could lead to an impact, and so on. Finally, fan engagement could have an impact, as stadiums would have to be built. Events with all their impacts would have to be organized with use of resources, emissions, and waste. It should therefore come to no surprise that NGOs and awareness groups rightly focus on every single potential impact of sports on the environment, recommending sustainable practices. Some of them focus on the sports product sector, such as this one, highlighting the environmental impacts of a soccer ball. Others focus on the stadium's impact and events impact and propose also some mitigation measures. Others focus on CO2 emissions, this one on soccer. Sometimes the focus is on a specific sport, as this criticism regarding golf, for example. So the sport industry has started to react in recent decades to these criticisms, and it has taken steps to improve its practices. For example, by prioritizing sustainable materials and methods in stadium constructions, considering impact on local communities and pre-existing natural habitat, minimizing emissions and optimizing fuel efficiency in travel and transportation, reducing, replacing, and recycling, and so on. More and more assessments are being carried out to check if the sports industry is actually delivering on its sustainability claims. And the results are somehow surprising, at least the ones that we'll mention here. One of the most interesting studies I found was this one published also on Nature, which assessed the various Olympic Games according to their ecological, social, and economic and overall impact, according to sustainability scores. Apparently, the trend in performance is downward, with peaks of better sustainability performance during the Salt Lake City Olympics and during the Barcelona events in 2002 and 1992, with Tokyo 2020 scoring lowest, as you can see. That's really food for thought. Other intriguing assessments are those carried out on Premier League sustainability ranking, for which Liverpool, Tottenham, Manchester, and Southampton scored best. In this case, it would seem the best performing teams also perform well in sustainability. Another interesting assessment was on the impact of the digital applications developed by the semi-finalist clubs in the 2023 Championship League, where Milan and Real Madrid scored best. While these rankings and assessments are very useful and enlightening, most consumers do not have the time to search for them and need a faster way to understand if their team is scoring well in terms of respecting the environment and workers, or if the product that is going to buy is produced the sport product is produced in a sustainable way. We need this information also in order in general to be able to make responsible choices when purchasing, as I was saying, sport equipment, or choosing a gym, among others, or a sports course. This is where certifications can play an important role. The truth is that currently there are very few sport-specific certifications. I will try to highlight the main ones. While there aren't many or any sport-specific certifications widely used and applicable to all sports, there are several certifications which could potentially certify parts of the buildings, of the raw materials, of energy sources, emissions, performances, catering, and other relevant to the domains of the sport sector. For example, PEFC has been pioneer in promoting the use of certified materials such as paper, cardboard, wood building, and forests for sports events, among other awareness and research initiatives. Maybe the most well-established certification is for the golf sector. It's GEO certification. It demonstrates a commitment to a sustainability journey of golf club which conserve resources, take climate action, foster nature, build communities. GEO application process implies a part of self-assessment with the possibility to also undergo an on-site audit. One of the certifications with more references is DECRA, specifically developed to address sustainability issues throughout professional sports club. Their comprehensive audit is based on standards established by the Swiss Sustainable Sports Non-Governmental Organization. Sustain Club helps leaders integrate sustainability into overarching strategies and day-to-day operations. Established in 2019, Sustainable Sports has already seen clubs in the first and second German league awarded Sustain Club certification. One of the certifications with more references, as we said, is DECRA. But let's look also at BASIS, which is another certification from the US about sustainable sport certification. It is based on 12 basic sustainable sport principles. It's evidence-based. It rewards actual performance and improvement over time. It allows to carry out a gap analysis. It is applicable to both community clubs and professional venues. And it has been applied to football, rugby, cricket, tennis, horse racing, and sailing. Arsenal FC Football Club, Chelsea Football Club, Celtic Football Club, and Ascot Race Course. Another certification which applies also to sport is RaceCore, developed from USA by the Council for Responsible Sport. Actually, the previous one was from the UK. It's mainly from the UK. And this RaceCore certification is mainly focused in events certification and provides an online platform to update all the audit information to upload and update all the audit information and evidence of compliance. It would seem that they have certified events in the US, but also in Mexico, Venezuela, Canada, as you can see from their website. So last year, also our World Sustainability Organization has launched a new sustainable sports and events standard as part of its expansion of the scope of the Friend of the Earth certification. This new standard positions itself in this market where independent third-party certifications are basically missing or still at a very early stage, with the logo, the Friend of the Earth label, which has already certified several companies in all continents for sustainable agriculture, and with sustainable textiles and fashion. The Friend of the Earth Sustainable Sports Certification, therefore, can cover all the sports domains we have previously seen, as it covers both events, sports products, and the sports club themselves for sports participation by means of certification requirements, which cover the whole range of potential impacts, requesting legal compliance, of course, social and environmental management systems in place, optimal use of water, waste, and energy, reduction of emissions and transportation's impact, social and ethical accountability. So here are some of the requirements of the standard that you can also find on the website. Of course, I will not be able to go in detail, but you see how the whole standard is set up. There are several essential requirements, some important ones. There's a slight difference also in the time for compliance and in the requirement for corrective action. So as you can see, here are also some examples of some of the certified sports events. For example, this Latwil Trail and Alex Bellini mission in the bicycle mission in the Arctic. With Friend of the Sea standards, we also certify other aquatic sports such as diving, and there's a number of operators which have been certified, and snorkeling, with an increasing number of operators obtaining the certification. The major benefit for a certified operator is, of course, the third-party certification, but companies can also contribute with the yearly royalty to our foundation conservation projects. They can also gain media visibility by means of international press releases, media outreach, and we organize interviews to their management and personnel, invite them to webinars, and much more. In case a company is interested, it can apply via our online preliminary information form, which is available in the apply area on our websites. This is the public price list. As you can see, it is reasonable and affordable. It is quite low for small-scale operators. And for events certification, the fee is €1 per participant with the minimum of €100 per year. All these excluding the audit costs. For those of you who would like to test your performance in terms of being a sustainable sport provider, you can write to us at info@friendofthesea.org or contact us through the contact through which you registered, or at Paolo Bray at friendoftheearth.org, and you will find all the text in the end, all the email addresses. And as I said, for you who would like to test your performance in terms of being a sustainable sport provider, you can test our new interactive avatars. We have different ones related to sports, and there's also my interactive avatar if you want to interact with me. Thank you, and we can now pass to the question and answer if there are any questions. Okay, there's a question on how to make sports more sustainable for the environment. Well, thank you for the question. This needs quite a complex answer, but I will try to simplify. So as we saw, we have 3 domains which have 3 types of impact. One, which is the biggest one, actually, is the domain related to sports products and gears. So, you know, everything that you need when you go to Decathlon or similar ones and you buy sneakers or something to wear for your sport, or even like the ping pong net and so on. So all these objects have to be manufactured, and they have their own impact. So just as we do when we assess garments in textiles with our textiles and fashion requirements and standard, we would test this, and the company that is producing has many ways to reduce its impact, obviously, optimizing the use of resources, energy, water, and the raw materials themselves, and go zero waste, for example, and also comply with social accountability. So respect the workers, respect all the national laws for workers, and possibly do even more. Then the other sectors are related to the actual fun, entertainment, and this is quite complex. But obviously, there are ways to reduce the impact when building a stadium or building a facility. There are ways to reduce the impact when carrying out an event by, again, providing reusable objects to be used during the event. That's one of the best way to reduce the impact, and many others. So these are just some examples. And I have another question. Can you calculate the impact of a sport event and or annual activity of a sport provider? So let's say that a certification and a standard is somehow different from a life cycle analysis, for example, or similar tools. They both have their usefulness, but while probably in this case, in order to calculate the impact of a sport event or annual activity, you would be best at using something similar to a life cycle analysis or in-depth analysis. A standard instead has to put some, let's say, objectives and requirements and parameters to be complied with in order for the product, or in this case, the event, to be certified. So it is not so much a matter in this case to calculate, but to check compliance to certain parameters, which are based on commonly agreed factors which determine the lower impact of an event or of a sport provider. I hope I answered with this. Our standards for sustainable sports, I've gone through them generically. I've shown you that there is a whole standard which can be downloaded from the web, but they focus on all potential aspects of or all potential impacts of sport activity. So from the development of the site and therefore its impact on the pre-existing habitat, if any, the use of material which can be later recycled, reused, as well as with the ongoing management of the sport club, all the possible impacts in terms of emission, use of water, use of energy, and so measures that have been put in place to optimize the use of all these resources. And then, of course, as with all our standards, we always include also social accountability requirements. How can you join sustainable sports? Well, you can contact us. Again, I think you have already all our contacts, but you can write to me directly at Paolo Bray at FriendOfTheEarth.org or Paolo Bray at FriendOfTheSea.org, info@FriendOfTheEarth.org. And in general, I suggest to anyway fill out the preliminary information form, which is online in the apply area of our websites. And so I think I see no other question. In terms of the polls, in the meanwhile, I can tell you that apparently everybody has confirmed that there is a need for a sport generic sustainability certification applicable to all sports and related activities and events. And as far as knowing previous certifications previously to the webinar, other sport certification for sustainability. Apparently nobody knew, but we have one person which knew of eco events of Lega Ambiente, which is an Italian NGO. So I'm always happy, to highlight, even if they are kind of alternative to what we do, other program, because I think it's important to provide all this information. So eco events of Lega Ambiente, it could be good for Italian companies, and it's great that also Lega Ambiente is doing something about this. So before we finish, as I don't see any other questions coming, feel free to rate and criticize if we didn't meet your expectations this webinar. I hope I managed to provide you with some new and interesting information. It's a complex sector, but it is one that has a lot of positive impacts, but on health, just one for all of them. But it also can have its environmental impact and social impact. And that's why we want to reward and award those companies that instead do things in the right way. So feel free, to contact us if you want to follow up, or if you want to, let's say, play a bit and experience our very interesting new interactive avatars. Just write to us and we will send you the link so you can test them. And if you are interested in being audited for certification, of course, feel free to contact us. Thank you, everybody, and have a great weekend. Thank you very much.
Help our planet with this first step. Follow Friend of the Sea and Friend of the Earth across our social media. Like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your follow and subscription helps us spread the sustainability message to everyone. Let's build a better world together as sustainable friends.